Hi all. Today I'm gonna talk about how MediaAgility is helping customers mostly in the online gaming, casino or in the betting business, how they can optimize marketing outcomes and derive customer acquisitions and revenue growth. So what we have seen with the recent market studies and the publications is billions of dollars are being spent on marketing and customer acquisitions. But whatever in all those case studies is the outcome that we have got is 50% of the market spend that is happening on customer acquisition is happening in the gaming industry itself. And if we talk about what are the recent changes, what we have seen in the sports, for example, in the sports gambling business, they have actually increased their overall spend by 82% in 2021 itself. So with all of these positive signals that we are looking, it is imperative to help our customers in these businesses to figure out more how they can maximize their return on marketing spend. As I've already told you, like it's an industry-wide problem, and there are a lot of solutions that are already built out. So one of the out-of-the-box solutions that I'm going to share right now is a Looker dashboard or a Looker block that is created for a commonly used marketing platform, GA360. And like every industry or every company is actually using these readily available blocks, or they have created their own custom things, but for marketing or for player engagement. But what is important here, with the changing marketing conditions, we need to look at innovative ways of actually calculating the key matrices like your player lifetime value, player acquisition, customer segmentation, or personalized market. So this particular block has a lot of inbuilt KPIs that will help you in determining what's the traffic on your website, on your brand, and what's the average session duration that a customer spends on your website. And it also tells you uh, are users opening the right campaign pages or not. And there are other informations like user acquisitions, where you will find KPIs like what is the channel through which you are acquiring new users, how the ratio is actually changing over the period of time, and is my campaign working out correctly or not, and stuff. And so there are other things that we can look at. And what you get from these readily available solution is they give you uh, they give you a view of a particular platform you are using. And for example, if the company is already spending a lot of dollars in platforms like Google, Facebook, Twitter, they might have to look at different dashboards to calculate the actual ROAS. But it doesn't give you a unified platform where we can calculate all of these. So with our solution, how we are doing it for our customer, we are creating a multi-platform approach. And we want the whole idea of actually doing this, it's look at your, like, we want to come up with decisions, we want to make some decisions based on your data, what signals that we are getting from your data. So that is what we are going to talk about in the next slides. How we do it for our customer. So we do it in a three-phased approach. In the first phase, we actually measure ROAS for all our existing customers. Then we do predict. In the next phase, we do predict ROAS by actually predicting the lifetime value of the new customer that your brand is going to acquire. And then how we can, in the next phase, we do an improve ROAS by helping our customers in allocating right dollars to the right campaigns, to the right users. And how we do it is a four-step process again. The first step that I want to talk about is the attribution modeling. As I said, whenever a brand acquires any customer, right, the customer has already gone through a lot of journey before being actually acquired or before making their first purchase into your platform. For example, the customer might have seen an ad on Facebook, then on Twitter, then on YouTube, uh, or maybe a direct search on Google itself, and then before making the actual first purchase for you. So whenever that customer makes a purchase, like that is a conversion, that is known as a conversion. So what we have seen company, like the most common way of doing it, as like allocating those credits to all of these marketing touch point, is by equally distributing all of the revenues that is generated from as the first purchase from this customer. So when you do it, it is like one common form of doing the attribution modeling, and that is known as the linear attribution model. Next important aspect that I'm gonna talk about is the how we can calculate the customer lifetime value. We have seen by talking to many gaming companies and the betting companies or the casino companies, what they generally do is whatever is the customer first purchase, they attribute that first purchase to your campaign. But is it a correct way of doing it? Let me explain with an example and we'll determine whether it's a correct way or not. So let's say there is a campaign that your brand is actually running, and you acquire two users, user A and user B. Both of them have spent $100 on their first purchase. But if we look and what companies are currently doing, they are actually allocating these $200 to that campaign, marketing campaign. But what during the whole period season, what we have seen is the user A is actually making a purchase of $500, whereas user B is actually making a purchase of $200. So what the companies are doing incorrectly is they are actually running both of their expensive campaigns on both of these customers, whereas it should be they should focus more on the lookalikes of customer A rather than lookalikes of customer B, just because customer A is going to be more profitable as compared to customer B, which is where we this predictive CLV comes into the picture. And that is again the third step what I've shown you in that previous slide. Once we determine the predictive customer lifetime value, we can actually create segments of user. For example, user A might fall under a high value customer, whereas the lookalikes of user B falls under a medium level value customer or a low level value customer. So taking a deeper dig into customer lifetime value, what we have seen while working with these customers is the top 20% of the customers of all of these companies, what they will actually generate 80% of their revenues, and all the other 80% of the customers will just have a revenue of 20 to 30%. So we want to acquire, what we want to do is we want to acquire lookalikes of high value customer by running more expensive campaigns there. And what we can do is with our medium level customer, what we can do is we can either run a cross sell or an upsell kind of a campaign or a re-engagement type of a campaign, so that we can make them convert into a high value customer. And for the low value customer, instead of running those expensive campaigns there, we can actually run reactivation type of campaigns, so that the players are kept engaged and they don't churn. So acquire, engage, and reactivate is the strategy that we want our customer to follow while in order to maximize their return on ad spend. Next, I would like to tell you how we can calculate this customer lifetime value. We do it with an industry standard in place that works on 3 parameters: recency, frequency, and monetary value. What is recency? Recency is how long ago did a customer purchase. Frequency is how frequently the customer is purchasing on your website or on your brand. And monetary value tells us what is the average purse size he or she spends on your brand, right? And how we can do a predictive customer lifetime value, how we can predict by looking for ahead into the future and predict the customer lifetime value. We can do it with either with a probabilistic approach or with a machine learning approach. Probabilistic approach is more of a statistical approach where you have a less data, but you want to predict customer lifetime values of lookalikes of high values or low value customer to find out those. So how probabilistic model works, right? So just imagine like in order to predict the future lifetime value. It's a very tricky problem, but we have an industry like renowned model for it, that is named as buy till you die model. It actually solve this prediction of that customer lifetime or the customer purchasing power using a probabilistic approach. It tells you, and there are a couple of it's an old model, and there are various ways of doing it, uh, either by doing it using Pareto negative binomial distribution. You can do it with that, or you can do it with your gamma distributions. All of these are statistical terms, but the main idea here is what these type of model does is they do like customer segmentations or customer they do the prediction as a coin tossing game for each customer. So each customer has two types of coins, a buy coin and a die coin. A buy coin tells you the probability of the customer making a purchase, and the die coin gives you the control of that tells you the probability of the customer is going to churn or never going to purchase from your website, right? So based on these three parameters and based on the probabilities, we determine the expected purchase, and based on those expected purchase and the monetary value, we do a predictive customer lifetime value. We want to learn it from your data. So if we by doing it a probabilistic approach and we found that it is not going to work for your data, we what we do with our customer is we then tends to take it in a more machine learning way, in a more deep neural networks we can use, and we can add more features to your model. Or what we can do is we can add like as it is actually using a less features, the probabilistic model, only the recency frequency and the monetary value. But what we can do it with machine learning approach include more features, like what is the average time that the customer is actually spending on your website, what is the average length of when is the last time he has actually visited your website, what are the product reviews, and all those features we can create a more machine learning model to predict your customer lifetime value. And this is one of the dashboard that will give you an idea of like why customer segmentation is important to in order to optimize ROAS. For example, if we are able to find out like the high value customers, then what we can do is we can run those high value like we can find out the lookalikes of those high value customer by passing that information back to our marketing platforms like Google Analytics and or Facebook ads. We can give them these lookalikes and find and tell that platform to actually find out the lookalikes of these matching attributes, so that you can run more expensive campaigns on those customers that are going to be your high valued customer, rather than spending a lot of dollars on your low value customers. As I said, we need to acquire the lookalikes of high value customer. We need to upsell and cross sell to medium value customer and run the reactivation kind of campaigns to your low value customers. So we have created, like as I said, what we are doing right now is we have created a unified platform so that we can have a unified view of all the data from all of these systems and how we are actually measuring it, so that we can take a data driven approach to measure or optimize return on our ad spend. So one of the Looker dashboards that I'm going to show you, for example, in the interest of time, let's briefly look at this dashboard. You can see there it has a lot of key KPIs like revenues, average revenue per paying user, what is the marketing spend, what is the ROAS on all of your platforms, right? So whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Insta, Google, and like on which platform, or for example on Android, with what is the like campaign that is actually more profitable to you, or on iOS, what is the campaign that is actually making sense or making money, that is generating more money. So all of these KPIs we can actually drive if we have a unified view of all the data that is flowing into our systems. So we can take a data driven approach to solve all of these things. And then what we are doing currently, with all our customers is we are actually ingesting all of their marketing data, either it is from your Google ads or Facebook ads or Twitter. We ingest all of these data uh, into our global enterprise data warehouse in Google Cloud, that is BigQuery. We also ingest customers' transactional data, right? Once we have the marketing data plus the transactional data, what we do is we do all the processing to create those aggregations so that we can actually attribute the correct revenue to the correct campaign. And all of those processing happens in BigQuery itself. And then so what we are doing is we are using Looker for as a data visualization tools for knowing what is the like profitable campaign for us on which platform, and like we can always send those signals back to our platform, back to our marketing platforms, just to make sure that we are finding out the lookalikes in a correct manner. So that feature is already there. It just we don't have the data, enough data for us to validate whether the user that you are going to acquire, like it's right now the Google ad is more profitable to you, or a Twitter ad or a Facebook ad. You don't have a unified view of it. So with this approach we are able to help our customer in those. With that I'll conclude. Thank you everyone for joining.